This is Brindlewood Bay Last Resort, part 6. So we have Sarah and Brian back, and so as a bit of recap, actually, there's really nothing to recap because what we did last time was a special side mystery called a Sweeps Week mystery, and called the Hex Files. And the thing about the Sweeps Week mysteries is they are completely separate from the Midwives Conspiracy. They have nothing to do with it. You don't even have access to the Void clues or Void, anything with Void. And so it was really fun. I recommend the two of you go watch it when you get a chance, because it was a great, actually really like horror forward mystery. It was quite creepy. But it has no bearing on the story that we're doing together. So yeah, you're all caught up basically, essentially. As far as where we're at with things, so we finished up the Great Brindlewood Bay Bake Off mystery last time. We deepened the sort of the conspiracy as far as things that are going on. The real big revelation from last time in terms of the overall campaign is that Mrs. Carfax, this elderly woman who's a local of Brindlewood Bay, is the sister of Jane Leaf, this judge on the Jolly Good Baking Show. Mrs. Carfax, as we know, kind of out of character, is somehow connected to the conspiracy because she's feeding the black dog in the cave near Stockton Farm. And I should say, nay, Stockton Farm, now called Snowdrop House. And so that was sort of like the big thing that was sort of revealed as far as the big conspiracy goes. We also got the impression, I think, that Etienne is maybe involved somehow in the bigger conspiracy. He started being very cryptic and weird about the ocean. So that was a thing. In any case, we find ourselves now with a new mystery to do. So let's talk about the Mavens themselves, though, and check out conditions that may not apply anymore. I think, Dr. Thibault, if you want to clear both tired and disgusted, you can clear those. But that's it. No one else is clearing anything. So that leaves us with B with the black dog and the blood red crown, Dr. Thibault with nothing, LMA with catch of the day, Violet with blood red crown, and jailbird. So yeah, that's where we're at with conditions. And let's talk about the brand new mystery. Is there anything else from just recap that we want to be reminded of, or anything that I missed from last time, Fraser or Drew, that is worth mentioning?
I don't think I told you, but I have Remington Steele too.
What does that one do?
You're very talented at passing yourself off as someone you are not. If there's a piece of identification or disguise that would help you with your ruse, you have it. Say what it is and add it to your cozy place.
Oh, nice. Good. Awesome. I gather you can do that a certain number of times or whatever. Or anytime.
Doesn't say.
So, okay. Well, great.
I took Angus MacGyver at my last upgrade. I don't think I've played since.
That was loads of fun. I love that one.
And then I had a quick question on the notes from the mysteries. I don't remember this since I think it happened in my absence. Was the insects in the cake Etienne coincidentally nearby?
Insects in the cake.
Anybody remember
was
that?
at the GBBO.
That was the GBBO.
Oh, that was the Bake Off. Okay.
Yeah, it was near the end. I think, or no, it was when B, I think, was...
No, it was Kelly.
Was it Kelly? Okay, yeah. I know you cut into a cake, there were some bugs, and then Etienne was like...
All right. Got it. Thank you.
Nearby. Yeah. So we think that Etienne may have something to do, have some kind of power of some sort, right?
Well, I have a rules question too. Is the only way to get a thing from your cozy place back the improvement?
Yes, that is the only way. Yeah, you have to take the advancement that lets you unclear them. Okay. Today's mystery is called, I shall enter it up here, Exit Stage Death. It has a complexity of 8, but we don't have the mystery quite yet. We have some little beforehand stuff to do. The Mavens are enjoying a week of sightseeing and cultural activities in Boston. They're taking in a show on the last night of their tour, a strange and disturbing production at the Twilight Playhouse called The King in Shadow. Normally, they'd skip something so avant-garde, but one of the Mavens has a nephew connected to the production. Everyone, whose nephew is connected to the show? What's his name? And what's his involvement in the production?
Well, B has several reputable and disreputable nephews and nieces, and so
Okay,
I think that it makes sense. Let's say his name is Beauregard.
Beauregard, okay, note that somewhere. And what does he do in the show?
Anyone have thoughts?
Sounds like he works at a steel factory.
Stage manager?
Okay, sounds good. You're at this play. The play is divided into 3 acts. The first act is somewhat normal and depicts the day-to-day life of a female protagonist, identified in the play as the journeywoman. I shall type that for you. The first act ends when the journeywoman receives news that her 3 immediate family members, mother, father, and brother, have all been killed in a bizarre fishing accident. The second act is considerably more strange and depicts the journeywoman's travels in the underworld with a character called the Boatman. Sure. The Boatman. The Boatman and her are trying to find the court of the Occluded King in order to petition him for the release of her family members from his shadowy realm. The third act is utterly bizarre, difficult to follow, and to large portions of the audience that walked out in the middle of it, insufferable. The bulk of this act involves the introduction of 3 courtiers of the Occluded King: the Duchess, the Prince, and the Knave. Drew, you are going to be the Duchess. Brian, you are going to be the Prince. Sarah, you are going to be the Knave. Each of you has to describe the scene of Act 3 in which this character is introduced in the play. The scene should be either horrifying or bizarre, your choice. If any of you has a shadow in the garden marked, any one of you, not all of you, if any one of you has a shadow in the garden marked, a void clue will also be revealed during these scenes. I will tell you what the void clue is. In any case, let's have it. I think we start with the Duchess. Drew, the appearance of the Duchess in the Shadow King's court before the journeywoman and the boatman, as the journeywoman petitions for the release of her parents from the underworld. Horrifying or bizarre, or both?
I think that the Duchess has actually been on stage the whole time as the figurehead of the boat, only the makeup and the staging was made to, she looked like a prop. And then as the journeywoman is making her case, the Duchess's head slowly turns to face her and she begins speaking.
Very nice, I love it. Eventually, the prince is introduced. Brian, tell us of the prince.
The prince comes up through the floor of the stage, kind of ascending from a hidden staircase, sloshing a goblet of wine in one hand, but there's like a ka-thunk, ka-thunk, ka-thunk coming up the stairs. And he enters dragging by the ankle his lover, who's, somehow incapacitated.
And our third brand new character introduced at the end of the play is the Knave. Beatrice, tell us of the Knave.
I need to set the costume as very Monty Python because I want the arms for a fishy fish, in which this character comes in and begins the very struggling, trying to tie masks on all of these individual fish that they are bringing out of this bucket and hurling at the actors and occasionally the audience in the first 3 rows.
This is definitely when the audience starts to get up and leave, right? It was on the knife's edge the whole time, frankly, but now this is it. I'll never forget, as an aside, when I went to go watch the Book of Mormon in Austin, of all places, and like half the theater got up and left. Like no one stayed for the whole show, which I was really surprised in Austin, being Austin, but apparently enough people went to go see the show who were like deeply offended by everything that was going on in that show, and they got up and left. So yeah, too bad. They missed a good one. The play concludes with the appearance of the Occluded King, an overly tall figure in tattered black robes, a ghost white mask, and a blood red helm. Does anyone have the pallid mask marked yet? The chorus members sing a shrieking, discordant dirge, and the journeywoman is pushed toward the king. The lights go out in the whole theater. And when they come back on again, the curtain has been lowered. No one takes a bow. There are no ovations. Very few people are even clapping. The ushers then help everyone out of their seats to exit the theater, and the show is over. The next morning, you all are back in your hotel suite, getting ready to head back to Brindlewood Bay, when there's a knock on your hotel room door. We'll pick up the scene from there.
I just can't get the smell of fish out of my hair. It's just, I don't know why Bo would have done this to himself. Terrible production.
Somebody spritz her while I open this door.
It is Beauregard, your nephew, B. He looks nervous. He has broken out into kind of a sweat. He's normally a sort of young, exuberant young man, but he looks very haggard, like he's gotten no sleep at all. And he rushes in, your nephew in peril, and he says, Aunt B, something terrible's happened.
Well, I can see that on your face, dear. Do sit down. I hope that you weren't at the door long. Ladies, Bo, tell us what happened, my dear. And I go to kind of make tea and fuss a little.
He says, last night during the play, Natasha Gray, the actress who plays the journeywoman, well, after the curtain dropped, after the lights came back on, we found her dead. A ritual dagger, a real dagger, not a prop, was plunged into her heart while the lights were out. Boston PD, they showed up last night and they've been questioning all of us. I think they think that I might be responsible because I'm the stage manager, but anybody in the production could have done it. I don't know. I don't know what to do. We have to figure out what happened, and then he kind of collapses and puts his face in his hands.
Calm yourself, child. I have a very good lawyer. Just breathe, and hand him a cup of tea. Although when he said he found the actress dead, there was definitely a teacup crash in the kitchen or kitchenette or wherever in the hotel space.
Indeed. And so this is your mystery. Actress Natasha Gray murdered when the curtain dropped with an actual dagger that was supposed to be a prop. Beauregard is supposed to go down to the police station to be questioned this morning, and he would love some help with that, or at the very least, he would like, depending on how this goes, I mean, he might end up arrested. He certainly didn't do it, or that's what he claims. And he knows that you all have a reputation for getting to the bottom of these things most of the time. So let's just kind of kick off then. So what do we think?
Bea would busy herself with her Rolodex and kind of be putting some names in order to people to call to help out and perhaps influence the police in some way. But I would leave it to the rest of the ladies to maybe interrogate him a little bit, because it's not really my place.
Conflict of interest.
Assuming the body's already been carted away by the authorities. It's not like lying on the stage still, right?
Yeah, most likely it has. Yeah, I don't think Beauregard knows though.
While the others are talking to him, would there be anything about the historicity of the play that Callie could be looking into?
Oh, maybe. Yeah, if you want to do that, that seems like a good internet search. Violet, what about you?
I'll interrogate.
Let's have that scene first. So where do you take him to question him, Violet? You're at the hotel currently.
Maybe just the room where everybody has bed and breakfast, and they probably have like little tea bags and hot water and stuff. So I just bust out a lavender tea for him to calm him.
Good. So yeah. So let's go. So what do you say?
It's imperative that you tell me absolutely everything you can think of.
He's sort of like going through his mind. He says, well, I mean, if I'm being perfectly honest, Aunt Violet, I think he calls you all Aunt Violet, I was definitely very distracted. I mean, I don't know if Aunt B told you or not, but this is the first big production I've been involved in on this kind of level. And well, I was very lucky that the Sinclairs, that's Ambrose and Farooka Sinclair, they run the theater troupe, that they hired me to do this. And so I was just really, really focused on everything going right. And I mean, the cast, they're a really eccentric bunch, and they have their strange rivalries and picadillos. I've definitely been kind of an outsider this whole time, but I've seen enough to know that they're very, very strange characters, and I'm certain one of them had to have done it.
Of course. Do you have any instinctual or gut feeling towards one in particular?
No, I don't think so, but I do. I mean, if you want to go speak to them yourself, I know where they're going to be. Well, I'm sure some of them are going to be questioned as well, but all of them were on stage. The entire cast was on stage during that final moment. But they do hang out in a bar downtown, kind of more of a private club called The Sticks. And that's where they spend most of the day. And I know that tonight, the Sinclairs, they are hosting the cast. It was supposed to be sort of like a wrap party at their apartment tonight, little dinners and drinks, things like that.
Does she have an understudy?
Yes, she did. Well, sort of. In fact, her understudy used to have the part, and she got replaced by Miss Gray. Belladonna Veit is her name.
And I look at the camera a little too long.
Indeed. You've gotten a lot of information here with no die rolls, so no capital C clues because he's not good for that, but lots of info. Catley, what are you doing?
She will be on her computer digging up as much as she can on where this play came from.
Yeah, take a meddling move with reason. Of course, if you have any cozy items that would be helpful, you can certainly add those in.
I don't think so, and that leaves me at 4.
I think you start to slip into a bit of a rabbit hole. This play, The King in Shadow, is sort of one of those, it's like an urban legend or like almost like a creepypasta kind of thing. Like, that that alleged video arcade game Polybius, right? It's kind of that kind of thing where it was thought not to exist, or that it did exist, but no one's ever had a copy of it. And in fact, you sort of start to learn, you go down this rabbit hole of research where no one's actually put on the play. The Twilight Playhouse, this is the first company to actually do it. It's unclear if they have an actual copy or not. They might just be putting on some other play that they are calling The King in Shadow just for publicity purposes. In any case, I'm going to give you the condition down a rabbit hole. But that's it. Meanwhile, Elabay, what are you up to?
I want to kind of chat briefly with Bo and say, Bo, I know you're going just down for questioning, but you know how police can be. Just lend me your keys to the theater, and I'll hold on to them for you, just for safekeeping.
He says, Aunt Ella May, if you want to go into the theater to snoop around, I'm not going to stop you. And if the keys would be helpful, here you go.
You read me like an open book, Bo.
He's like, well, I just know what the Murder Mavens are like. I've heard all your stories. So you have access to the theater. It's a crime scene too, so there might be cops there actually. But in any case, well, so
be somebody like Remington Steele who could disguise themselves.
Speaking of, Violet, you haven't checked your messages lately. Maybe you take a minute to check your messages. Maybe there's a service that like forwards your home answering machine messages to you, despite the fact you have a cell phone where you can take messages. And you get the little beep. Good afternoon, Ms. Hyacinth. You've been doing a splendid job lately. You've managed to accomplish every task we set you to. Keep doing it, and you'll keep learning more. You'll keep going down, deeper and deeper, down the rabbit hole, as it were. But I'm afraid you're not going to find a cuddly Warren at the bottom of this rabbit hole. No, instead you're going to find truth, truth shrouded in darkness. Your next step, you may have a chance to be in a secret surveillance room, and you'll notice that camera 3 is turned off. Turn on camera 3 and note down what you see. Beep. And so, go ahead, P.
So I have a question. I thought perhaps while Beatrice was stepping out to make a few phone calls, that it would have been a wonderful Fox Mulder move opportunity moment for me to like get some information from my mysterious source.
Absolutely.
But were we supposed to get a void clue for the play?
You were.
Okay.
And I did not give it to you, so let me give it to you now. There is, let me look it up real fast. Look at the list.
Do you want to give it to us as we're snooping around the stage eventually?
No, I'm gonna give it to you now. Violet, are you, I don't know if you're okay with, well, you don't have to share the message with anyone, but I do think that almost as soon as you finish this message, you are in the hotel suite where you're all staying, and you hear, you see that a tall floor-length mirror the glass looks unusual. And as you get closer and closer to the glass, you realize that it's two-way glass. You can see that it has a strange sheen to it. And if you lift the mirror from its place, you'll see a camera in a little alcove behind the two-way mirror that's been recording you all in the room the whole time. That's actually your void clue, and a good enough justification for getting your contact involved. We'll note that on the void clues. So, what's everyone doing after this unsettling discovery?
I feel like going to the theater and trying to at least slip into the dressing room, if nothing else, see what we can find out. Perhaps check the props room as well to find where the fake dagger would have been, stuff like that.
Yeah, I think that's great. So you get to the theater and you discover that there are in fact Boston PD in the theater. Most of them are kind of focused on the stage, which is now taped off with yellow police tape, but there are cops sort of all over the place still. They're not like actively looking for anything, they're just kind of hanging around at this point. But you may have to either sneak around or you may have to justify your presence in some way. Which approach do you think you want to take?
Is anybody else coming with me?
Callie will come.
I'm gonna be, I think, looking for a room.
Okay, very good.
Okay.
Very interesting. So Callie and LMA, you're there and everything's as I've described. You can go in through the back with the keys, no problem, which might give you the ability to sneak to where you need to be, or you can go in through the front and actually confront the police directly.
I'm regretting turning in that FBI badge.
I feel like let's sneak in. At the least we can claim to be old biddies who left something when we were at the play last night, like I misplaced my whatever.
Sounds good. Let's take this as a day move. LMA, what are you afraid is going to happen if you fail?
The police see like some fish scales stuck to the outside of my purse, and they realized kind of my positioning and that I was close to the murder victim when the murder took place, making me a suspect.
Good. I like that. And I'm going to invoke Catch of the Day, and here's how. As you're going in through the back, I think there's a street person in the back alley, and they see you and they're like, and they give you like a wolf whistle, right? And they're like, woohoo, you look like the catch of the day. Just kind of making it a little tricky to sneak in, basically.
Nice.
So take the roll at disadvantage with composure.
5. That
5.
damn disadvantage got me. I had a 6 on one die and a 1 on the other.
You are both sneaking in. You get in through the back and you feel 2 hands on your shoulders, 1 on each, and a Boston PD officer leaning in between you. I'm not going to do a Boston accent, but he says, "Can I help you, ladies? You look lost." And we will remind me again, Brian, why might they think you did it?
That there's fish scales stuck on the outside of my purse showing, my seating was very close, like front row, close to the victim.
Oh, very good. Yeah. Good. And he says, "Huh, what's that on your hand?" And he lifts your hand and he starts looking at the stamp. And we shall cut away. So B, what are you up to right now?
After talking to a couple of lawyers and somebody recommending someone else who's actually in town to see if I could find, to bring in a lawyer to the police station if something terrible happens and Beauregard is accused of this heinous crime. I then, between phone calls and missed phone calls and then dialing the same number again and then going back and then, oh, this person I wanted to call, is my contact to meet me downstairs probably at the pool. So I can be, meeting somebody behind a shadowy palm potted plant in the corner to ask him who on earth could be recording us in our potential, who would want to look at, I was pretty once, but this is, assuming it's a conspiracy good. Of some kind.
That scene has to be off camera, but you have it. And you now have a +1 to your next die roll. So unless you find more void clues before it's your next die roll, in which case you get more. But in any case, Violet, what are you up to?
So I've installed cameras, me as a player, Fraser, have installed cameras in places like this, and often what they do is use this really cheap wire hider that clings to walls. And so I'd like to sort of grope around and try to find that, and then if so, trace the wire back.
I love it. Do the meddling move with reason.
+1. Ooh, 9, 10.
Nice. You do find it. I don't know if this is how the technology works or not, but this is actually connected to a transmitter. It's transmitting somewhere it's basically going to another place. It's not inside the hotel. It's a 2-way transmitter. What do you do? Oh, and I owe you a clue as well. That's not actually a clue, but I'll give you one. Your clue is that you peel away the sort of like drywall where this has been hidden, right? You see the transmitter. And next to the transmitter, there is actually a symbol, a marking on the wall. And the marking, looks like it's been done with a marker or paint or something. The marking is of that stylized red helmet that the Occluded King was wearing in the play.
Cool.
And that's your clue.
So I think what I do then is I take, there's probably like the breakfast nook has some, a whiteboard with like whatever's written on it for breakfast. And I take a marker and I write, "I know what you did." And then on the opposite side, like the local diner or something, and I hold it up to the video camera. in the hopes that they will come and meet me. And it says like 30 minutes or something like that.
Oh, you're trying to get them to come to you?
Yeah.
Oh, that's really good. I like it.
I would love if B is returning from the downstairs pool back to the room when this is happening. I would love for that to be the case.
I think that's good. Let's have a roll though. I'll give you a day move for it. I think what you're hoping to accomplish is fairly straightforward. What do you hope? What will happen if you fail?
Well, presumably if they have cameras here, they don't really need to meet me on my terms.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah, it could be like a sign of aggression that they respond to, post haste.
Roll with composure.
Oh, that's snake eyes.
Not great. We shall be, by the time you're coming back in, you go inside the hotel room and you see signs of a struggle. Violet's nowhere to be found. You see a dresser knocked over. You see the room tossed around a little bit. You also see the camera and the hole in the wall as well. Violet discovered something she's not supposed to discover. The plot is thickening. Violet, unless you want to mark the crown, of course, but if you don't, this is what we're doing.
It sounds pretty fun, actually.
Okay, very good. B,
Unless I'm dead, then
no, you're not dead. No, you're not dead. B, what are you doing?
Oh no. Oh no. I immediately try to call Violet on her phone, accidentally dial my contact again, see it, hang up real quick, and then dial Violet's number correctly. See if I get an answer.
The phone is answered, but it's not who you expect. It's a man's voice.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I draw? I'm looking for Violet. I might have dialed the wrong number. Who's this, please?
Hello. I am afraid I can't quite be at liberty to tell you who I am, but just rest assured that your friend is perfectly safe. She and I are going to have a little heart-to-heart about what you all are doing in Boston.
I see. And then I look at the camera, and I suppose you can see me as well. Hello.
Yes, I can. Although I'm sure you've summoned the police by now, and I'm afraid I'm going to have to turn off my little radio connection.
Oh, yes, that would be terrible for you to not be able to spy on the lovely ladies like you perverts like to do. Who is this? I have not called the police. I just want to know my friend is okay. You put her on the phone, please. Please.
Ta-ta, my dear.
Mm.
And he hangs up.
Mm.
Let us cut back over to Callie and LMA. LMA, do you want to mark a crown to avoid the cop catching you, or are you okay with the cop catching you?
Oh, I forgot now is an option to mark a crown.
I was thinking we could use the gold crown move to convince him that we're supposed to be there.
Pretty good.
Is the gold crown move specific to you? What's the gold crown move?
It's one of the general moves. You all can do it twice per mystery because of Dr. Thibault's move. But basically, twice per session, a Maven can say, "This reminds me of something that happened to Amanda Delacourt," and then you talk about the novel. Right?
Got it. I forgot that's called gold crown. All
Gold
right.
Crown Mysteries move. Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think, Drew?
What's your masks like? It's
I would like
your
to
call. You have quite a few. I don't mind using this. We have 2 uses, and we're a third in.
Yeah, I've got 2 uses per session, so you might as well do it, right?
All right. Yeah, let's do it.
Say the words.
Yeah,
Callie will
reminds me of something Amanda Delacourt did.
So what was the name of the Gold Crown mystery in question? What was the problem she found herself in? How did she overcome the situation?
Backstage by the bay. the title of the book. Situation.
Everyone gets to participate in this, by the way. Not just doesn't have to just be Brian.
Maybe caught in a dead-end alley by the authorities, and she crawled through kind of a low-lying hatch. So something to kind of escape the alley. We might escape actually under the stage, unless somebody has other ideas.
So you're going to run away from the police and run and hide under the stage. Is that the plan?
Right, and then from there we can make our way to the prop room.
True.
I don't know. Is there a better idea?
I was going to.
The name of it would be good if it was Dead End. Then that's definitely a name of a mystery.
Well, I thought we decided the name was Backstage Bay.
but I want to change it.
Okay. What was your idea, Drew?
I was just thinking it could be a situation where Amanda talked herself into getting past an investigation using credentials that she didn't quite actually have.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Well, so then the mystery was Backstage Bay, and she was confronted by the police. And so what did she do, Amanda, in this scenario? Or what did she do, Drew?
She managed to convince the police officers that she had actually been hired by their own department to investigate the murder. And everyone was just so busy, and she spoke with such authority, they just bought it.
My nephew is a hematologist here in Boston, so we could throw a little bit of like blood analysis.
Oh, there we go. That's good. Yeah, that's good. Well, let's have the scene. So I think that's a pretty good move if that's the way we're going. The cop is like, "What are you two ladies doing here? And what is this on your hand?" And he's kind of like looking at your hand, and he's saying, "Wait, were you here last night?" And here might be a good chance to get this going.
Callie will look at LMA and just kind of, give her a bit of a wink and say, of course we were. Don't you remember us?
He says, "No, should I remember you?"
Well, I should think so. Your department hired us. We're the consultants.
Inspector Thibault, is this another one of those sexist incidents we're going to have to report?
I do believe it is. Underestimating us on account of our sex and our age, as usual. I would have expected better from Boston.
He says, all right. Well, you've obviously never been to Boston, but setting that aside, what is your expertise here?
The blood samples already are out of the ordinary, and there's something amiss here that is more than a standard stabbing, and we've been sent to investigate for clues that have been overlooked.
Okay, so normally there'd be a die roll here, but you get an automatic 12 plus because of the Gold Crown Mysteries. So it succeeds automatically, and you get a little bonus, which is he will escort you up to the stage if you wish to take a look, and just one of you, so the other of you can do something else. He says, okay, well, we've been waiting for forensic people to come to get here, so come on. And he will take you and walk you towards the stage. LMA, Callie leaving
my
you
little
alone.
bag of medical tools to make it look super official.
Yeah. Callie, what are you doing in the meantime?
Callie's going to go to the prop room.
Okay, interesting. I like that. Let's start with the prop room. It is a fairly narrow room. There are both props and costumes in what's essentially just a kind of a large, like a large closet space, but it feels much smaller because it's just piled up with stuff, right? It's like a room, but then it feels like a narrow space because of all the stuff that's in there. And when you step inside, you see a man sitting in a chair, flanked by costumes hanging on either side of him. He has vacant eyes and thin, almost transparent flesh. It's very fishy looking. And he doesn't even seem to notice you at first. But eventually he looks up and he's looking at you, but he's also looking through you. And he says, "Down below in the vastness, gems and gold glittering, unspeakable wealth, unknowable knowledge. He is reaching out for us, calling us home to him. Oh, would that we could return to the cold embrace of the void, but the void has rejected us. And now we are truly alone. Down below, the inky vastness down below." LMA, you are brought onto the stage. There are police and detectives roaming around. You see a chalk mark where the body presumably was. You see bloodstains. And the police constable says, "So here's that blood expert that they were supposed to be sending in." And the detective looks up and says, "Her?" LMA, what do you do?
I say, we're in a theater. Appearances can be deceiving. That seems just part of the situation. But we do need some additional samples. Something is amiss here, and I'll pull out some tools from my bag and scrape up a little bit of blood on some little slides or something.
Yeah, it sounds good. While you're doing this, you can be keeping an eye out. Do a meddling move with composure. Let me take a look at your conditions. I think you're okay on conditions. Just straight dice with composure.
7.
Very good. We'll come back to that. Let's pick up with Violet. Violet, you wake up having been knocked unconscious, and you find yourself in a dark room. It's like one of those 90s sort of sexy suspense thrillers. It's a dark room with a bank of video monitors wrapping around it. And there's a chair and a person turned and looking at the video monitors. You will note that camera 3 is off. And what do? You're not tied up or anything. You're just kind of slumped against the wall.
What do I? Oh, I have my rolling pin. So I'm going to sneak up behind them and whack them on the head with the rolling pin.
Why do you have your rolling pin on you? I don't know, but I'm into it. This is the night move, even though it's the daytime. What are you afraid is going to happen if you lose your nerve or if you fail, really?
That they'll, like tie me up and I'll be defenseless.
It's worse than that. You will go missing. The Mavens will never hear from you again. Roll with vitality.
And with advantage, right?
Are you marking your rolling pin?
Yeah.
Do you have your, oh, you do, yeah. The Great American Novel. Yeah, you can mark it. Roll advantage, go for it.
Yeah. Of Mice and Men. Oh, good thing too. With which again? Composure?
Vitality.
Oh, vitality. 11.
Nice. I'll take the fiction. You sneak up behind this man who, now that you can see him, I will describe as luxuriantly obese, quite large, wearing a purple cravat and a beautifully fitted suit, and a straight, like a crew cut haircut. And he's looking at he's like clicking on buttons and looking at cameras, and you just club him and he slumps forward unconscious.
And I say, purple isn't your color.
We cut back to B. B, what are you up to?
Well, I don't know what to do, except I'm feeling very frazzled. It's been a long morning. Obviously, I did not know there were cameras in this room. My nephew's in trouble. I really think that I would like a glass of wine and a place to sit to calm my nerves. And then I'm trying to remember the place that Bo said it was downtown and I can't remember. So I'm going to call him and ask him what was the name of the bar that all of the artists hang out downtown.
It was the
and
Sticks.
Just
the Sticks.
Of course, how could I forget that? I might call the ladies on my way there and say, just as a place to regroup.
And that Violet's missing.
And that Violet is missing. And there's a lot afoot. So meet me there when you can. And we can, yes. And I'm off.
Good. Very good. You all get the message, except for you, Violet. Although your phone is nearby, Violet, you can get the message too, I suppose.
I send them a pin of my location.
Very good, very good. Do you do that?
If I can, yeah. Otherwise, I contact them via the Facebook app.
You can, if you put the pin is the apartment building where the Sinclairs are having their rap party tonight.
Their rap party?
Yeah, like they're wrapping the show. It's the last performance of the show.
Oh. I was like, they are into gangster rap or something?
No, WR.
No, they're not here and they're not gonna say.
That's just a little thing. That's where you find yourself, is in that building somewhere. So you all get the message from B. Violet is missing, although Violet has just dropped a pin. And you're supposed to go meet B at the Sticks. But meanwhile, LMA, you got a 7 on your roll, right? Give you a clue here. You are taking this blood sample, which is not really going to help you solve this case, but you are also looking around the stage, and you will see a book tossed somewhere, stage right, say. You can, that's your clue. The complication with the clue is going to be you have to swipe the book surreptitiously before the cops can see you get it. Do you attempt to do that?
Sure, otherwise I'm leaving empty-handed. Just a bunch of cruddy old blood on a slide. Who needs that?
Who needs that, indeed. Roll the day move. What are you afraid is going to happen if you fail?
Let's see. They take the book away and we never have access to it. And they rudely cast me out the back door into the alley.
Okay. Roll with composure.
12.
Nice. You get the book. You get the clue from last time, and I'll give you a bonus. I'll think about the bonus. But the book,
do the pretend like following blood splatters until I get over to the book and then kind of slide it out.
Yeah, it's good.
Tuck it in.
The bonus is, I'll just let you add this to your cozy little place. The book is called Mysteries of the Occluded King. And once you take a minute to actually thumb through it a little bit, I'll tell you what the clue is, but that's the sort of start of it. And you get to add that to your cozy little place. Meanwhile, Kelly, you're in the prop room. This strange man has been uttering cryptic things to you about the inky blackness below. What do you do?
She'll just kind of, oh, well, that is quite the monologue. Are we in rehearsal?
He stands up and he walks towards you. He's very tall. And he extends his hand and he says, "Come with me, my queen. Come with me down into the darkness, down into a hole of sorts, into the void."
Yeah, we'll look behind her, and then we've only just met.
I want the day move. What are you afraid is going to happen if you lose your nerve right now?
She's going whether she likes it or not. She'll be too polite to say no.
Because you have down the rabbit hole and putting you at disadvantage, it's going to be with composure. Go for it.
Uh, 5.
He takes your hand and says, "Do not protest, my queen. I'm going to take you to the Shadow Court now, where you belong. For too long have you been gone from us. For too long have you turned your beautiful gaze away from us." And you actually feel yourself getting woozy. He passes his hand over your face, and you feel your eyelids getting heavy. And you are slumping down unconscious, unless you mark a crown.
Kind of like to see where this goes.
Very well. Meanwhile, LMA, we'll come back with you in kind of think where I want to put you in space and time. We'll come back to LMA in a moment. B, you're heading to the sticks early, I guess? Are you going there before everybody or what?
Well, I thought that they would be hanging out there in the afternoon before the rap party.
They
was
are.
my impression.
The troop members are, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So that's where I was heading to see if I could talk to some of the actors. And
Let's
refresh my
Oh, go ahead.
refresh my memory. Natasha Gray, the actress that was murdered, she was playing the Duchess in the last scene.
She was playing the Journeywoman.
Journeywoman, thank you.
Yeah. Let's talk about the sticks. Being in the sticks feels like being unstuck in time or space. What do we experience? This is a paint a scene. What would one experience that would make them feel that way? It's otherwise just a bar, a very small little hole-in-the-wall bar.
On display throughout this space is like the cash register looks like it has all of the typewriter boxes and functions, but it's next to somebody's iPad doing inventory, which is next to a rotary phone, and all of the devices that they use are very mismatched in time. Just an odd accumulation of stuff.
Maybe some of the booths are like really new, like bright red vinyl and stuff like that, and others are like cracked and patched and stuff.
The art on the walls, like the further you get in, the older it is, to the point that it's almost like Greek frescoes.
That's really cool. You said it's a small bar, but in entering, there's nonetheless like a water feature, sort of a koi pond. And to cross it, you have to pull yourself on a tiny little raft. And somehow that short distance, the noise of the street just fades away completely, and there is no ambient noise from outdoors that reaches beyond that watery threshold.
There's a bar, and there is a large round booth towards the back. No one's at the bar tending it, but one of the people in the booth gets up and walks over to you as you come across the little raft. This person has sort of very frizzy gray hair. It's a man, a very penetrating gaze. And he has a pair of those sort of silver Baoding balls that you sort of like play with in your hand, you know. And all black. Everybody there is wearing black, except for one person who conspicuously is wearing very bright colors. He comes up to you and he says, "You have made the journey to this place. Very, very few people come here, for reasons not the least of which is it's a private club. How can I help you, madam?"
Oh, good afternoon. I was informed by my nephew that some of the cast from the play yesterday would. Oh, his name is Beauregard Baum. I'm his Aunt B, and I just wanted to give my compliments to some of the actors that just put on such a wonderful, but obviously tragic performance last night. And he told me that I could find some of them here.
Yes, please come, join us. And he takes your hand. He says, "Of course, staging The King in Shadows will be my greatest professional accomplishment. It's what the world will remember me for. By the way, my name is Ambrose Sinclair. I'm the director of the show."
You could be no other. Of course you are. It's a pleasure to meet you. It's truly dramatic what you've done.
Thank you. Did you know the author of the play is unknown? In fact, there may not even be an author. It could be that The King in Shadows merely exists like an indelible truth of the universe. And I'm so happy that I have been able to help uncover that truth.
Of course. I mean, it's not that uncommon. Didn't I could have sworn maybe Cats was also very unwritten and with no actual credits. I could have sworn that meandering in the third act was very not reminiscent of your great work, obviously, but
the difference between The King in Shadows and Cats is that The King in Shadows at least has a discernible story. So, and
that's all too true. Yes, I don't suppose I could get a beverage of some kind, of glass of wine for a parched old lady.
I'm afraid we favor absinthe here.
Well, so long as I get ice.
And he says, "Anthony, won't you make our guest an absinthe?" And Anthony, one of the people in the booth, a big barrel-chested man, enormous bushy beard, he lets out a really loud, thunderous laugh. And he says, "Of course, I'd be delighted to." And he's wearing a purple turtleneck, you know, and he gets up and he walks over to the bar. There are other people in the booth as well. He introduces you to all of them. Farooka Sinclair, his wife, she plays the Duchess. She has shiny black hair pulled back into a tight bun and blood red lipstick, and she smells of tomato vine. There's Anthony, who's making your drink. He plays the boatman. There's Belladonna Veit. Anthony Veit and Belladonna Veit are husband and wife as well. Belladonna wears dark, wispy clothing, pale skin, tattoos, a very sort of Helena Bonham Carter sort of look, right? And there is Giancarla Thune, another member of the chorus. She's the one who's not dressed in black. She's wearing a flower crown, like Carol Baskin, and very like flowy, colorful muumuu. And there is another member of the chorus there as well, Delia Fane. Sprightly, very strange, asymmetrical red hairdo. And finally, we have Maxine Gray, the husband of the victim. Handsome, fresh-faced, also wearing a black turtleneck. He's actually sitting at a little table away from the rest of the group, clearly distraught over the death of his young wife. And Ambrose says, well, as you know, we are here under, unfortunately, rather somber circumstances, but we're going to do our best to keep a stiff upper lip. And, well, we're not going to let the death of dear Natasha stop us from celebrating our great success here with this play.
It truly is such a tragedy. She lit the stage from both within inside herself and from outside herself. The performance was just mesmerizing. And I'm just watching everybody else at the table while I go on about this to see who might have a differing opinion.
Belladonna says, she certainly died really well. She's really good at that.
Oh, my dear, such a wicked tongue. You don't speak ill of the dead, especially here of all places, I would think. It would be inappropriately named otherwise.
Maxime, Natasha's widower, says, Belladonna's just jealous because Natasha was given her part and she got demoted to the chorus. Belladonna gives him daggers. And Flower Child Young Carla says, can't we all just let our bad feelings slip away? This is not the time for us to argue and be petty with one another. And everyone just sort of like grumbles.
Would I be able to make any sort of information move as I've settled in with the booth, maybe watching them
Maybe
celebrate and or talk to themselves, and who I might suss out is happy or sad about her passing, other than obviously her husband?
We'll see.
Okay.
Let's take a 5-minute break. We'll come back and pick up. Kelly, find yourself in a very poorly lit basement of some sort. There's just a single flickering white fluorescent strip light up above. You are sitting in what appears to be a throne. And there's a throne next to you. And looming over you, staring down at you, is a massive 3-headed dog with bright red eyes. Except it doesn't move, and you realize pretty quickly it's just a prop. And this tall man with this strange, thin skin, he steps forward. He is now dressed in the costume of the Occluded King, and he puts on the red helm, and he says, "You have returned, my queen. Long have I desired to have you by my side, down here in the below, in the inky vastness below." And he steps up to the little dais where the thrones are. You're not tied up or anything. And he sits down and he puts his hand on your hand. And he says, "Tell me, how were things on the surface world?"
Oh, well, quite compelling, actually. Perhaps you and I could go there. I could show you a few things.
You know that I am forced to stay here because of the infernal contract, the infernal agreement I made with my brothers. I cannot leave this place.
Well, you've left for your performances? Surely you can get another exception.
You wound me, my queen, saying that my rule of the underworld is but a mere performance, when you know that it is my life's work.
Well, I don't mean performance as in theatrical. I mean performance as in gender. It is what we present to the world.
And he tightens his hand around your hand. And he says, no matter what, you will always be my queen.
And you will always be king. What again? Remind me, it's been so long, dear.
And he chuckles. Look how you make the court laugh. Kerberos can barely contain himself.
Oh, well. You know me. I do like to inject levity wherever I can. Hades?
I'm giving you the condition. Your condition is going to be called the Queen of the Down Below. He says, let us sit and let us contemplate the infinite. And then he just goes very quiet and still. We'll cut back over to Ella May. Ella May, as you're stepping off the set, you have your book, which we'll talk about more in a bit. Before you leave, having had a chance to scan the stage, this is a paint the scene for everyone. What do we see on the stage that subtly suggests that this stage is actually some sort of ritual space?
The scenery doesn't look like it's been moved. So as candles have melted on stage, the wax has gone onto the floor. So unlike a regular theater production where they move everything and clear stuff, it looks like this is stuck here for a while.
Instead of
You go ahead.
instead of like tape or paint on the floor for actors' marks, there's little sigils and strange like alchemical symbols.
I was thinking above, I can't remember what it's called, but like the scaffolding above, they've painted the typical sort of like ritual circles and stuff like that above. And so as they're like swinging about or whatever, when they come to a certain head, they form like a perfect mark.
I'm picturing up in all the lighting canisters. There's the ones for the current production, but there's also other lighting canisters that are ancient. They've been there for quite some time and have not been moved from their specific settings.
So Ella May, what do you do as you leave this, after you leave the set? Ella May, what do you do after you leave the set?
Sorry, missed that was directed at me. I think I would actually be heading for the prop room if I can make it that way, not so much to find out what happened to Dr. Thibault, but more just
Well, I think as you're going by the prop room, you will see a set of stairs that go down into some sort of basement storage area, and you will hear from the darkness, you will hear this man monologuing down below about his queen and such. What do you do?
I send a pin to everybody. um, I'm gonna look around for either a prop weapon that's substantial, like a wooden pole or a metal pipe or something that I might be able to bonk somebody with. And then that was behind a door, right?
Well, there's just like some stairs that go down, and there's like,
okay, so kind of slowly do the creep down the stairs and try and be quiet and learn more, listen, see what's going on.
We'll come back to that. Violet, you have knocked this man unconscious. He's slumped over his little desk there where he controls all these cameras. You can see the blue glow in his pocket of his phone currently receiving a message. What do you do?
I'll check that out. And I also make sure to check the camera that was turned off. Number three. Yeah.
You check the message, and it's from someone named Delia. And it says, the message says, "Otho dear, when are you going to get to the sticks? An old woman just showed up, and I think she's suspicious."
If there's a lot of messages, I copy and paste a generic one to send back.
Yeah, you can just send some little whatever, to keep her occupied. And then you turn on that camera, huh?
Yeah.
The camera is focused on what appears to be a bedroom of some sort. It's a black and white closed circuit situation. And it's a bedroom because you can see a window with curtain drawn, what appears to be like a wardrobe, and like just the end of a footboard of a bed. You can see that there's some kind of activity just off screen though. Like there's some kind of like shadows moving, like something's moving just out of frame.
I use the left arrow key to move it.
Move it over. You move it over and you see that there is a dog laying on the bed. The dog opens its eyes, which glow red on the video, and stares at you through the camera. I'm giving you are also going to have the condition, the black dog. What do you do?
I think I turn it off. And then I also I go about leaving, but I also text everybody, Violet Hyacinth is a steely-eyed missile woman.
As you're getting ready to leave, you hear the man that you knocked out going, oh. And he spins in his chair and says, "Did you hit me over the head?"
And I run.
You step out into what appears to be like a little, not a crawl space, but like kind of crawl space. It's like a space between walls, proper walls. It's not supposed to be there. And you can make your way down that space to another, essentially it's a dead end. What do you do?
I use the torch function on my phone to look for some sort of switch or something to get me out of this.
Yeah, there's actually like a handle, and you can open the handle and slide the wall away, and it opens up into what appears to be like some kind of just like a room of some sort.
When I close it, can I try to bar it with something?
You step into this room, which appears to be like it's another bedroom, and the wardrobe can be slid back and forth to grant access to this space. I don't know that there's something you can maybe push the bed up against the wall, but I don't know. It might be kind of hard to do considering you're a little old lady.
Yeah.
You can hear a voice down the hall. Ms. Hyacinth, I don't intend to hurt you.
And can I still have his phone?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Okay, maybe not. I said I was going to call the cops on it at first, but maybe I'll play it out. I'll just shout back, prove it.
Well, for one thing, I'm not one for running or great feats of physical activity. I only managed to subdue you because I had the element of surprise, and now I don't. Let's be friends.
How do I know you're not the killer?
You don't, but if I was the killer, why would I show you my secret surveillance room?
Your secret surveillance room looks an awful like a place where you would keep people, beat them, and probably kill them.
And yet, here you are, walking amongst the living. I'm coming through the secret door now. I hope you're not going to accost me again.
I don't, but I have my rolling pin in my hand, like wielding it like a sword.
He slides the thing across and says, "Oh my, are we about to bake a brioche?"
Just stay where you are. Continue speaking.
He steps out and says, "I have to get to the sticks. My name is Otho Fane, by the way. I would request your discretion. I would like it if my fellows in the troop did not know that I have been keeping an eye on them."
And why are you keeping an eye on them?
Because I want to make sure my money is being spent well. This whole production comes from me. The Sinclairs, of course, are the visionaries, but they can't enact their vision without coin.
Well, you provide me with a tape of the killing, and I'll provide, and I won't tell your friends what you've been up to.
Funny thing, my cameras actually can't view the set. I've tried several times, and they never pick up anything, just static. By the way, my name is Otho Fane. I play the knave.
Of course you do, dear.
Let's cut back over to B. Delia Fane is frantically texting her husband, but you don't know that. Maxime and Belladonna are still, sort of like trading daggerous looks. Giancarla Thune is there with her flowery dress and flower crown, trying to keep everybody happy. And Farooka and Ambrose, who are sitting on either side of you, they are just sort of like doting on you a bit. Are you enjoying your drink, dear?
It's much more refreshing than I remember absinthe when I had it in my youth.
The big barrel-chested man, Anthony Veit, Belladonna's husband, says, Well, I'm not going to share my secret recipe with you. You seem like a nice lady, but some things have to remain hidden in this world. Ha 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 ha.
You certainly have a laugh for the stage, my dear, and make an awfully strong drink.
And yet I am stuck playing the dour, silent boatman. What's that all about, Ambrose? And Ambrose says, oh, stop, Anthony. I don't want to hear any more of it. Meanwhile, Giancarlo says, so you said that that Beau is your nephew?
Yes, Beauregard is my sister's half-son, so I mean adopted. He's wonderful. Isn't he just a really charming young man?
Well, so does that mean you're also from Brindlewood Bay?
I am, dear.
Oh, my husband is from Brindlewood Bay as well. He's not here right now. I'm not sure where he's at, actually. But yeah, that's where he was from, born and raised. His brother, Gordon, still lives there.
Oh, yes. And you said, I'm sorry, I've met so many people, and this drink is more than I usually have. Your husband was Ortho, is that correct, love?
No. Otho is Delia's husband. My husband is Gregor Thune.
Yes, of course. That's, oh, goodness. Yes. Well, Brindlewood Bay is lovely this time of year, but we just had to get away for a little show and didn't realize what we were getting ourselves into.
I know, isn't this just perfectly ghoulish? But whenever you are with the Twilight Playhouse Company, things happen of an unusual nature. And
really?
Farooka says, I think that's quite enough of that, Giancarlo, and so on and so forth. Meanwhile, Callie and Ellie May, you go down the steps and you see this dog that's a sort of startles you probably at first, but it is in fact just a prop, a large three-headed red-eyed dog looming over Callie and a man sitting on these thrones. Callie is looking as she does. The man is dressed up like the Occluded King from the show last night. What do you do?
I think it's time for an Angus MacGyver move.
I love it. So everyone gets to, between the rest of the players, you each get to name one. Let's read the move, actually. Let's just read it. Says, when you improvise in a situation using whatever is at hand, ask the other players and keeper, but just you all can do it, to name 3 objects you find in the environment, so long as you can give a plausible explanation for how one or more of these 3 objects will help you with an action. You get advantage on a single roll related to that action. The more random, the better.
Well, there's got to be a coat rack.
Okay.
The dog's tail is a single piece of, no, not a single piece. It is a large metal thing slotted into the back of the dog, and it has a little fire starter in the back so the tail can ignite.
It's standing on one of those coiled rugs that's just held together with a single loop every couple of inches that kind of spirals like a snail shell that you could easily unravel into a single yard and many yards of rope-like fabric.
Some pretty good items here. What do you do, Elame? Yeah, I was expecting a paperclip to be in there somewhere, or like a floppy disk. I think I'm going to give Callie the kind of the, gesture, and tiptoe down and pick apart this spiral rug to set up a tripping hazard. Kind of leave little curled bits sticking up, and quietly pull the coat rack over towards this fire starting tail. I'll give my best theatrical Cerebus voice and say, "You have done well, servant. The ritual is complete," and ignite the coat rack with the tail. Shove the
love
coat
it.
rack in between Callie and the mysterious king here, the Occluded King, and then like, let's go, and run for the stairs.
I think that's fabulous. This is the night move because of the location. What are you afraid is going to happen if you fail?
I blocked the stairway with a burning coat rack.
Yeah, it's worse than that. All three of you will die in a fire. So if you're okay with this potential, roll with composure and let's have it. I'm going to make this more complicated.
Oh.
That street person is at the top of the stairs, the one that was catcalling you earlier. And he says, "I thought that was you." And he's now coming downstairs. So roll another die and take the two lowest.
Disadvantage, all right.
It would be disadvantage, but yeah.
Take that, it's still an 8. I rolled another 6.
Okay.
I'm used to
Full
being
success.
catcalled, I guess.
Yeah, full success. Full success, but the complication is going to be that either the man dressed as the Occluded King or the street person gets caught in the fire. Your choice.
Ooh, my choice. It feels like the Occluded King has made his ritual chamber and gets to sleep in it.
Very well. Callie, describe how you escape.
When the king is distracted, she's going to just slowly creep around the back of the chair and just kind of skirt the back of the wall, hopefully in the shadows of the actual pedestal and thrones, and just make a break for the stairs.
The dog catches on fire, and as you are all running up the stairs, the vagrant says something like, "You're one hot mama," as you're going up the stairs, and then the dog is burning, and you hear the man, the Occluded King, say, "The fires of my realm will consume me, as it has been predicted for eons. The birth of the new order is upon us, and my queen has once again fled this place." And we just hear him scream as the flames get higher. The cops have called the fire department at this point. The three of you can make a hasty exit out the back. And so Violet, Otho says, "This is actually the Sinclair's apartment. I pay for it," which of course is how I was able to build my little secret space in it. I own the whole building. He says, "We'll be here later tonight for our little rap party." That's a WRAP rap party. But until then, I'm due for drinks down at the bar. I also have to go check in with Boston PD at some point, though paying them off shouldn't be any trouble whatsoever. And he says, "Would you like to share an Uber with me?"
Your proposal is acceptable.
And he takes your arm and you go down down the hall, making quite a sight for him, as big as he is a very big man, and you being a little old lady. And you get into your Uber X. He says, I didn't get to be this rich by not saving money where I can. And take your Uber X to the Sticks, where he will be reunited with B. LMA and Callie, you can also get down to the Sticks if you wish, unless you're going to go somewhere else.
I think the Sticks makes sense. That's where we had planned to meet.
LMA, on the way over, you'll have a chance to look through that book a little more. And this is the actual clue. The book has illustrations of the Occluded King and other characters. And one of them, the Occluded King's lover, the illustration looks very, very similar to one of the cast member photos you recognize from the playbill, Belladonna.
Got it. Thank you.
And so everyone's at the Sticks. You take the little raft across the water feature, stepping into another world. Farooka Sinclair, she's the one wearing her hair shiny and black in a bun and wearing that blood red lipstick and smells of tomato vine. She comes to greet you all. She says, please, please come in. Any friends of our stage manager's aunt are friends of ours. And they invite you in. You meet everyone who's there. Delia says, where is Gregor? Has anyone seen, or not Delia, Giancarlo says, where is Gregor? Has anyone seen Gregor?
I can't say that rings a bell.
She says, well, you can't miss him. I mean, he's tall, vacant stare, speaks very cryptically. He's not much of a conversationalist, if I'm being honest.
Oh yes, I bumped into him in the prop room. Haven't seen him since.
He does like to spend a lot of time in the prop room.
Very, very cryptic. Very regal, actually.
She says, truth be told, I wouldn't have even married the man. We have nothing in common, if not for the fact that Sinclair's insisted that I do so.
Oh, well. That is... Why would they do that?
Oh, it's just something to do with, oh, well, it's just our tradition in this troupe. We're husband and wife pairs. Maxine Gray says, not anymore.
How odd.
At this point, I'm going to go around the table and find out what everyone's interested in doing. You have all these characters here. You can divide them up however you wish and talk to them privately, wherever in the bar, however you wish. B, what about you?
I am wondering if spending a little bit of time with these people gave me an inkling of who I might want to focus this investigation on.
I would say Maxime. He seems the most distraught over Natasha's death because I think he actually did love her. And everyone else seems unhappy about her death, but not like particularly in mourning.
All right, well then,
and he's at his own table, so
I would probably then step away from the group, and since I had spent so much time with them, and go chat with him at his table, I think.
Okay, we'll come back to that. LMA, what are you going to do?
Is the Sticks in the same building as the Sinclair's apartments or
it's
condos?
No.
Not. Okay, sorry. And I don't yet know that Violet was abducted, right? Violet, you're here though, right?
We can assume you've shared all your information as needed with everybody.
And you know that I got out of the situation really well because of the missile woman text.
Right. But your abductee,
the abductor's there as well.
Yeah.
Okay, that's kind of my question. The abductor was in the room. Lord.
That's Otho.
Yeah, give me a second. I'm not sure what to do next year. Give me a moment.
Callie, what are you going to do?
I think she would like to speak to Farooka.
Okay. And Violet?
I want to talk to the boatman, who's the bartender.
That's Anthony, yeah.
Yeah. And I want to order a hot chocolate.
Okay, good. We'll start with you, B. So you sit down at the table with Maxine. What song is the jukebox playing? This group is very very dark and gloomy and melancholy. What do we suppose is playing on the jukebox?
Anything by the Doors?
Perfect. And he says, I can't imagine why anybody would want to be here right now. We should be out there trying to find out who did this.
I can't even imagine how hard this has been for you, but to tell you the truth, my nephew asked me and my friends here to ask a few questions because he suspected foul play.
Well, of course there was foul play. She was stabbed in the heart with an actual dagger.
Yes, but within the troupe itself. And I've been playing very nice and trying to be adorable for these cast members, but you seem to be the only one truly sad about her death. Can you think of anyone who would want to do this?
Make the meddling move with presence and yeah, just regular dice.
I still am going to add a +1. We didn't get a second void clue. I think we're just at the 1.
You are just at the 1 right now. Yeah. So
Cool.
+1.
Haha. That would be a 10.
Nice. He says, well, and he kind of like leans in and says, if I tell you something, will you promise not to tell anyone else?
I just want to do what is best for your dear departed wife and my nephew. I won't tell another soul.
2 days ago, we discovered, well, I should give you some context here.
That's nice, dear. You take your time.
There was a lot of sturm and drang over Natasha getting the part in the first place. I mean, it's true, she won a Britty Award for a TV role that she recently participated in, and she has more acting chops than most people in the troupe. But for her to get the role of the journeywoman, especially from Belladonna, was a very, very big deal. And I think, of course, you would think, well, foul play, Belladonna must have done it out of jealousy. But 2 days before that performance, we learned that Natasha is actually Ambrose Sinclair's secret daughter.
No.
Yes.
Oh, dear, that seems unnaturally. I mean, you don't see this much outside of fiction.
Well, it's all very listen, when Natasha and I were married, we didn't love each other. We barely knew each other. But the Sinclairs insisted that we had to, that the play required it. And so we did. But I grew to love her. We were more than just journeywoman and prince. We were husband and wife.
Your love for her still is so admirable, and the best of loves you grow into. I can only give my deepest sympathies for your loss.
And he sheds a tear and thanks you. And we cut back to Callie. Callie, you're chatting with who again?
Farooka.
Farooka. And Farooka says, so you're a doctor.
I am, yes.
This is
History
like
and
off to the
folklore.
side of the bar.
Yes, yes.
A doctor of,
History and folklore.
oh, so you're not a medical doctor.
No, no. Perhaps someday.
Interesting. Well, I wonder if you have a diagnosis to share about the state of our little troop here, given the tragic circumstances we've just endured.
Tragic circumstances. Do you mean the killing of, yes, Natasha Gray? How sad for you.
Yes. She was very talented, very, very talented girl. She won a Britty. Did you know that?
I did not. They seem to keep coming up for me and my friends. How interesting.
Yes. Well, then now I guess we have to give the part back to Belladonna, even though she's far too old for it.
And such an interesting, complex part it is.
Well, she mostly just stands around and goes where other characters drag her along. But that final scene where she's pleading her case before the Occluded King, it gets me every time.
And do you happen to know whether Belladonna would be angry enough to perhaps endanger Natasha's life?
Make the meddling move with presence and just regular dice for now.
3.
Come back to that. Violet, you were chatting up Anthony, right?
Yeah.
And I think he's the only person still sitting in the booth. Everybody else has kind of gone off to, little groups to talk. And he says, what do you think of that absinthe?
Oh, delicious.
It's like, yeah, I didn't love it at first, if I'm being honest, but it's the drink of choice around here. So I do what I can to fit in.
Of course. And might I add that your scene was, of course, by far the best part of the production.
Oh, you think so?
Yes.
What do you think of
Gripping.
that? What do you think of that little water feature over there? That was my idea. Kind of a little nod to the boatman in me.
Indeed. Well, you might have noticed that I did donate a couple coins to the river, as one does.
Oh, I guess I have to take you to the underworld now.
Do you have any oh crap, what's that stuff that they put in hot chocolate usually? That
Cocoa.
alcohol?
Oh, wait. What are we talking
There's
about?
plenty of creme de menthe, is probably what you're thinking of.
Yeah. I asked him if he has any of that to put in the hot chocolate.
You don't have hot chocolate. They don't have hot chocolate. You have absinthe.
Oh, yeah. Right. Oh.
He's like, sorry, we didn't have any hot chocolate. That's far too cozy for this crowd.
I suppose so. So are you absolutely gutted by the death of Miss Gray?
Well, I'm upset, of course. I mean, she was a nice girl. She won a Britty. Very, very, very good. And I, of course, spent the most time with her of anyone because we shared the most scenes together. She was very nice. And here he looks like maybe he has something to say, but he's not quite opening up. How do you get him to open up?
I'll put my hand on top of his hand and look him in the eye with the warmth of a grandmother.
A grandmother who has been touched by the blood red crown and the black dog. Roll with disadvantage on presence.
Fair enough. With presence, hey? Okay. Ooh, wow. A 6, a 5, and a 5. So in presence, it's just 0. So still 11.
Mm-hmm.
Or 9.
But, oh yeah, well, no, 6, a 5, and a 5. It'd be 10 plus
0.
So 10, yeah.
Yes.
He says, I did spend a lot of time with Natasha. I I don't want to suggest that this has anything to do with what happened to her, but she was very, very excited because, well, she had just received correspondence from a big-time talent agency in Hollywood. They were trying to snatch her away from the production. And, well, I don't think that would have gone over too well with everybody here.
Well, surely at least one person would be happy. I look at Belladonna.
Well, that's his wife, by the way. He says, well, Belladonna, of course, is upset that she lost that part, but she's not the type to do something like that, trust me. She gives big Tim Burton energy, but trust me, she's not actually like that creepy.
Well, if anyone would know, it would be you, dear.
I do have a mastery over the softer side of Belladonna light. Not many get to see it, but I do.
And so, was there any warning that Natasha had given you throughout the days during your scenes and rehearsal? Did she fear for anything?
Only that she didn't want me to tell anyone about this talent agency trying to headhunt her away from the show. That's all. She only told me because I could tell she was very excited, and I insisted she tell me what she was excited about.
Makes sense.
And I kept my promise. I didn't tell anyone, but perhaps somebody who has ways of finding out things found out.
No doubt.
So, LMA, what are you doing?
I'm thinking to talk to Ambrose. I want to ask, have we acquired, was the Natasha being a secret daughter a clue?
It was, yeah. Everyone's kind of highlighting fields here, so I can't read if anything's written. But the cast being, secret daughter is a clue. Cast being married is not a clue.
Got it. All right.
I'll change the secret daughter one. Natasha was secret daughter of Ambrose. There's a suggestion that she got the part via nepotism as a result.
Gotcha. So,
and then we have a clue that we just got, which is Natasha had been contacted by a talent agency in Hollywood.
Yeah. All right. So I want to talk to Ambrose. And you said there was a jukebox, right?
There is. What's it playing now?
I'm going to go over there and plug a couple quarters in and put on Sticks, Too Much Time on My Hands as I talk to Ambrose.
Very good, very good. He says, good choice. I see what you did there.
Hey, so as I'm learning about your theater company and your productions, it seems you have a deliberately matrimonially organized cast. What do you do in the death of a member? Like, are you just on a hiatus until another romance blossoms?
He says, has anyone ever told you you're pretty foxy for a geriatric?
You would be surprised at how often I hear comments of that nature. So I'm just saying I'm a catch. I don't know. I guess I still got it.
Yeah, I'd say you do. Do you have any acting experience?
No, not really. I nursing, pottery. Those are my backgrounds.
It says pottery. Interesting. So you, well, yeah, it's really unfortunate. The fact that everybody in the troupe has to be married to another member of the troupe It has to do with the play itself. It's a requirement of the script.
Written in a sort of stage directions, or
Yes,
I don't know enough about theater.
It's a show about Hades and being reunited with his lost love, Persephone. The journeywoman, of course, is Persephone in disguise. And the end of the play is supposed to be a ritual that rips Persephone free from the mortal body of the journeywoman and brings her back to the Occluded King's side. Of course, the knife is normally one of those plastic spring in the handle job affairs. Well, I do go on.
Have you performed this play in the past, other theaters?
We've only performed it here.
Just the once?
No, not just the once. We have just completed the 13th performance, in fact. A very cosmically significant number.
That's fascinating. Do you have any of the old playbills, or like down the hall to the restroom, some of the posters listing prior cast?
Well, the cast is just everyone you see here. Belladonna was put in the chorus after we were lucky enough to discover Natasha Gray. She had won a Britty, you know.
Believe it or not, I did know that.
But look at the time. We have to get ready for our little wrap party. Are you ladies going to be joining us? Is Beauregard going to be there?
Bo is not mine to watch, so I'm not sure, but I think we'd be willing to join you.
I'm sure he's freed up with yes, I'm sure he's out of I'm sure he's finished his meetings and would be free to join.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, everyone, I think we're getting ready to wrap up here. We can start heading back over to the apartment. We have everything ready to go. We just have to take the hors d'oeuvre trays out of the refrigerator and crack open the bubbly. And despite the grim circumstances surrounding the event, we are very, very happy to have had a successful run of The King in Shadows. Who had a miss on the table? Was that you, Kelly?
Yes, yeah, I had a 3.
Yeah.
At this time the jukebox starts playing Styx is Fooling Yourself.
Very good. They're all starting to file out. And Callie, everyone leaves. You left your purse inside, however, and have to go back. And when you go back across the little raft, you see standing in the center of the bar the black dog with glowing red eyes glowing very similar to the eyes on the 3-headed dog in the basement. You've never had any interactions with the black dog yet. What do you do?
She will kind of freeze. I assume that the others have mentioned this.
Yeah.
Their sightings.
Yeah. Unless everyone shares everything, unless it's specifically held back.
And she'll just she'll start backing out. Purse isn't important. It's fine. I'll call later.
Take the condition, the black dog as well. And that will wrap that scene as you take the little raft back across the small water feature. The dog staring at you with its eyes glowing red in the darkness. We shall pick up next week, the continuation of Exit Stage Death. For now, let's just go on to Stars and Wishes. Whoever wants to go first, take it away.
I will say a big old star for Jason's attempt at catcalling, because it's just so very obvious that you've never shouted inappropriate things at a woman before.
No,
And
never.
I have a big heart for that one. I really liked the illusion that Violet had an answering service forwarding her calls to her voicemail on her cell phone. That was still a delight. Also, Violet shouting in the crawl space, just, I don't mean you any, prove it. You know, it was very visceral. I was right there with you in that moment. I also really felt like there was a lot of characters in this. So I think that we had a lot of really great role play. I don't know if that necessarily led to a lot of actual mechanical clues to solve a mystery, but I had fun doing it. So just a star for that. Wish, obviously, is to find more clues and solve the murder.
A big star for the Occluded King. That was pretty amazing, and how it escalated was even more amazing. With Brian and Drew, how they exited, and also the circumstances that could easily have resulted from failure, and that could have also been fun, but the winning was also good. And yeah, I really liked the scene with Oath though, because it almost is like subversive of the genre or whatever, where like one of the pet peeves that I have of the genre is when someone's hit over the head and they're out for like an hour, when it would be like 15 or 30 seconds or whatever, unless they have brain damage. So I like that he, like, you know, sprung up quite quickly, and then that whole dynamic, yeah, was just very fun. And just the whole scenario in general is really gripping and interesting to me. I like the premise and like the notion of all these things that are happening, and then also the beginning where you were getting people to inhabit it, like the roles of the things going on. It took like all of my strength ever to not tell the boatman that it was a avant-garde choice to have Genuine's pony playing when the boatman scene was happening. Very, like, I've been watching too much Dickinson on Apple TV, obviously. And Wish, yeah, I don't know, just to keep finding out who done it, because I really am not sure. Like, I don't even have a theory, and that's kind of fun.
Yeah, stars for me. I really enjoyed the I love this mystery. It's one of my favorites. It's my favorite of the ones I've written, and it's fun to play. And it, because it has so many like interesting characters, and it shows my love of pop culture, which comes through in the game in every place. And this is the same, just because like all the characters are references to other things. And really enjoy the ever deepening mystery of what's going on here in the bigger story. But I like that this mystery introduces this, like, you know, because the midwives conspiracy is about Persephone, right? And this little cult is about Hades, right? So I just like this sort of like duality of it. And I'm curious, and that's a wish, just to kind of see where that goes. Because the mystery itself doesn't have anything to say about it. It kind of just comes out as we play. In terms of everybody, just like individual stars, I just really enjoyed the scene going down the basement with Gregory Thune was really terrific. Just that whole sequence was really great. I quite like the Otho and Violet scene as well. That was really, really enjoyable. I really enjoyed that initial sort of like Beatrice being like put in with all these characters, because it's intentionally a little overwhelming, right? Like just all these characters, and you're kind of just there, and you're sort of like a little unmoored. I just enjoyed that. It was fun to do. And yeah, I I'm feeling it. I'm feeling the black dog. Black dog is fun. So, yeah.
Also, I got the sense that nobody understood the reference of the steely-eyed missile woman.
No.
Yeah.
I was going to
That's-
look that up afterwards.
That it's from Apollo 12 and popularized in Apollo 13, the movie, and it's just whenever an astronaut or an engineer comes up with a very savvy solution that gets them out of trouble very quickly. So it was my way of like telling people that I'm okay, they don't have to come. But
everyone just looks at the phone like, I don't know what that means. I guess she's okay.
I thought the Aunt B and nephew Bo, the B Bo bomb, that's just, I don't know, that set it off on a good ridiculous note at the start. The Duchess appearing as the prow of the ship and appearing as a prop for a chunk of the play, that I want to see it in a real play now. That was amazing. And the Fraser using the holding the whiteboard up to the secret camera. I know what you did. Meet me at the diner. That was amazing. And then what else? Oh, the comparing the King in Shadows to the actual Cats musical, and are debating over which one has more plot line. A lot of good ridiculous moments in there. And both Drew and Fraser, you kind of took a failed role to see where it happens, like, you know, got abducted into danger. It was I think great for the storyline.
I have B citing Cats as a work without an author. I like that. Fraser, I love how bold Violet is, but also how Violet will also just do the kind of Looney Tunes, like pause for a second and then just dash off when stuff gets a little too real. Ella May having MacGyver, I think that's both a star and a wish. I'm looking forward to that coming up a whole lot more. I want to see all the wacky things that Ella May comes up with and also has a good story for, like the rainbow cake. Jason, the phrase big Tim Burton energy. I think that has to, I need to work toward making that my autobiography title. And just having everyone ask about Callie's degree. Oh, not a real doctor. I love that. That is
Yeah, it was a callback to last session. That was such a thing. Yeah.
Wishes. I hope that at some point Callie gets to just like bore someone to tears with the Tommy Whitefall universe theory or whatever rabbit hole she's fallen down on the internet. I hope that comes back to haunt someone.
Yeah, that'd be great. I'd love that too. Awesome. Any other stars and wishes? We're good to go. Okay. Well, in that case, I'm going to stop the recording.